We are the Outright Geeks, broadcasting to you from the downstairs portion of BMad's house, a.k.a.
my bunker. The BMad bunker.
And we're happy to be here. We're finally broadcasting to you. We've been trying all sorts of little videos and vignettes. You've seen them from Geekway, you've seen them from Comic-Con, but we're now finally bringing it to you via this new format that we're going to try and pursue.
It's not my idea, because this is a face for radio.
He says this every time.
But it is.
He says this every time.
I'm
You
a
guys
chunky
love
monkey.
him. You guys love him. Before we do get started, though, we do have an important message, as today is the 25th of May, also known as Memorial Day.
So we're going to bring it all in for a moment, getting serious, because we both have lost people close to us. My uncle in Vietnam.
And a friend of mine in the military, his name was John Santos. He perished while at a guard post. Iraqi dude had a car loaded up with explosives, ran the checkpoint. He didn't stand a chance. So,
And also, we both are former military. I represent the Navy.
I represent the Army.
And so we wanted to take a moment of silence for all those who gave everything for these little freedoms that we have. Okay?
Gone but never forgotten.
Never.
What else is the 25th of May known as?
Well, a couple things, Tony Bravo. One happens to be mostly harmless. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Towel Day.
Towel Day.
Never, ever, ever be without your towel. You knew it was coming.
Yeah, I knew it was coming. Also, it originated in Spain, El Día del Orgullo Friki, or as we call it here, Geek Pride Day. It just all kind of coalesced onto one day. Memorial Day bounces from Monday to Monday, the last Monday of the month, if I'm not mistaken, whereas the 25th was designated as El Día del Orgullo Friki.
Every time he says it, I get a little tingle.
Yes, I get the tingle too, because I get to use the bottom part of my throat and sound like a man.
So they did it because of the celebration
Of Star Wars.
the release of Star Wars. So it started in
1977.
no 06 for the holiday.
Well, the holiday started in 06, but
the
yes.
release was 77.
Right,
I was
right.
1.
I was still baking in the mommy's belly. I didn't burp out till a few months later in the middle of a big snowstorm in Detroit, Michigan.
And then one more thing, and I don't know anything about it, but it has something to do also with Discworld.
Discworld, the glorious 25th of May. So for all you Terry Pratchett fans, this day's for you. So, National Geek Day, Geek Pride Day, Memorial Day. What else are we going to talk about on this 25th? Well, let us tell you, we have an action-packed show. Actually, there's no action. The two of us are just going to sit here and point at
Quite
you.
a lot. So anyway, this weekend, we celebrated Comic-Con. 3rd annual Comic-Con.
My first ever.
His first ever. My third. In St. Louis, because it was the 3rd annual Wizard World in St. Louis. But I've been to several others in Chicago and San Diego during my time in the military. But before that,
Ever.
before that was Geekway.
Geekway was before that.
Since we've been off the air or the internet, since
We
the
stopped
interwebs,
talking to you outside of Facebook.
we're gonna go back a little bit further to the release of Age of Ultron.
The
Avengers number 2. Because we both saw it and thought it was phenomenal.
It was delightful. I had fun watching it.
I went and seen it on Thursday. That's how badly I wanted to see it.
I saw it, let's see,
You said
Free
that.
Comic Book Day was on Saturday. We went on Sunday.
There you go.
So-
Free Comic Book Day.
Free Comic
so
Book
we can
Day.
talk about Age of Ultron because it all tied together, and Free Comic Book Day because it happened all almost within the same little weekend. No, it did happen with all.
It was all on the same weekend. So join us as we go back in time, Doctor Who style, without the TARDIS. Yeah, I was going to do that, but you beat me to
supposed
the
to do it
punch.
together, right?
Well, I was going
On
to
three,
kind of punch
right?
it up.
One,
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Here we are on the first Saturday of May, also known as
Free Comic Book Day.
And I got my free comic books. I chased down, they had a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
They did.
So I made sure to get that. My daughter is a Turtles fan.
The big hit was the Fight Club. So the makers, or the guy that wrote Fight Club, Palachenik, how do you say his name?
I have no idea.
See, there's one of those things I always forget to do is like remember names. Anyway, Chris Palachenik, or however you say his name, the guy that did Fight Club, decided to release in comic book form the prequel to the movie, but not the movie, the book.
Right.
Because he at the end of the movie, he's standing there, the buildings are blowing up, but in the book, if you don't know, he's actually like insane. So he goes to the hospital. So the free comic book day is the end of the movie, or the way the movie should have been if it would have actually followed the book. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So then the series that they're going to have, that they're going to do the number one of, which I think is going to come out next month, June, will be the prequel, or no, it'll be after the actual movie. So what happens after he gets better, if you will.
Basically the graphic novelization of the continuation of Fight Club.
But it was the big thing at Free Comic Book Day. I participated in Free Comic Book Day at the local shop there in Edwardsville. Our friends at Heroic Adventures, Drew Rose, who's a buddy of mine, said, "Hey Bob, come and help." Tony Bravo was there. Mm-hmm. I took pictures.
I took my daughter.
I rallied up the crowd. Somebody brought my daughter there so she could be a part of it.
There were the table.
There were cosplayers. We saw one of our fellow outright geeks, our former cast member.
The cat. She showed up. She was dressed as Catwoman,
and she took some pictures with us.
Yes, she did.
Which I put up on the Facebook page.
Although the Facebook page does still have the Tim Curry Rocky Horror Picture Show replacing her, as she has moved on to greener pastures.
Which means we're still looking for somebody to fill that spot. So if you're interested in sitting around talking with us two geeks, we would love to know about what you geek out about.
Let me stare into your soul.
That's the one thing I'm bothered by the camera, Tony. I'm usually used to sitting here looking at you talking, and now I'm looking at you guys.
But we are talking to you.
You. See, he told me to do a lot of pointing.
Yeah, we do. We will do a lot of pointing. But anyway, in addition, Spider-Man was there. He brought his web slinger. I'll never get over that, because if you are an avid cosplayer and you are male and you are going to wear something that is very skin tight,
wear a cup.
Tuck it in.
Wear a cup.
Something. Anything.
There were little kids around.
Yes. And the little kids all looked and said,
"Your little kid, my little kid.
I can see it, Daddy." And I went, "I can't tell." But that's all right. Everyone, have your fun with the cosplaying. We're going to talk about that on our Comic-Con discussion that we're going to have in a little bit. But Free Comic Book Day was a blast. This guy had a little bit more fun than me because he was a bit more involved. I walked in, I grabbed my stuff, and I hightailed it on out of there.
Yeah, I was making sure that they got their books, how many they were getting. There were some contests going on. So I was trying to be as helpful as possible to all the people that came in. There were a lot of people that came in and just really have never picked up a comic. My favorite was this little old lady. I mean, just
she walked in with her cane and said, "I want a comic book." And then she grabbed one from the rack, and we said, no, not that one. And she said,
wasn't like that.
Free.
She was very sweet. She was like, I haven't seen a comic book since I was a kid. I never collected. I brought my grandkids here. And I was like, well, what do you like? She told me, and I helped her pick out one. She got the one with the bedtime stories, but they were and I made sure to tell her they were scary bedtime stories, because as we all know, all the fairy tales were actually like horror stories to scare children at bedtime to get them to do whatever they were supposed to do, which is why they're called the Grimm's fairy tales.
Yes.
But this was, and I don't have the book, and I apologize. I'm sure I have it here somewhere in the BMad cave, but
it's down here somewhere. The bunker is loaded. The bunker's actually just been remodeled a tiny bit.
It's being remodeled. That's one of the reasons we haven't been on the air or the interwebs.
There's been all sorts of stuff.
Plethora of
This
reasons.
is our first broadcast to you, but we're going to move on from that.
Correct.
So we saw the Avengers 2, which was that same weekend.
Yes.
I was blown away by the fact that now 2 members of the movie Kick-Ass, number 1, have now both been Quicksilver.
Very true. Very true, and did an excellent job, by the way. And in the Avengers,
I like the second one better because he actually used a Russian accent.
True, and it's safe. I mean, we're pretty safe with the spoilers.
If you haven't seen it now, and you've been at it for a month, and you're watching us, let me put it this way: as our target demographic, I believe so. As our target demographic, you should have seen it by now.
very true. I would say that you should have seen it by now. I mean, it is the highest grossing movie of all time. I'm going to double check that fact, but I remember seeing that in the interwebs myself.
So basically, it's taken the Harry Potter, it's taken the Star Wars, and it said, I'm going to go way past you. Hang on, my finger. I'm going to go way past you. I'm going to go up in this corner and destroy you in the grossing.
It is still in theaters.
It is, of course it is. It's only been out 4 weeks.
So I think that we decided a long time ago to be non-spoilerish that it has to be out of theaters. I think that was a rule.
Avengers are in it. Iron Man's in it. Captain America's in it.
Well, we can't tell what happened. We can't tell the fate of Quicksilver, which I'd really love to talk about. Maybe.
Well, you know what? They wouldn't have known Quicksilver had a fate if you didn't say the fate of Quicksilver.
I mean, so speaking of the fate of all the Avengers, the biggest thing that was talked about with the Avengers is how there was no little scene at the end. Now, there was a very quick scene with Thanos putting on the glove saying, I'm going to take this into my own hands.
Yes.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
I gotta do it. If you're gonna do it, you gotta do it yourself. He does that generic line of,
and that was
"Hey, I'm the big bad guy. I'm about to do my thing."
And that was it. And then credits, and then nothing after the credits.
Nothing. But no shawarma eating.
No shawarma at all. But here's my thing. Josh said that he wasn't going to, and we all were like, "Yeah, whatever." But if you pay attention closely to the movie, and I can't wait for it to come out on Blu-ray because I'm going to pause the scene where Tony Stark is going through his little dream sequence.
Yes.
Now, the reason I don't think it was just a dream sequence about his spheres, which is the Scarlet Witch's power,
right?
Since they couldn't really explain her actual comic book power.
Yeah, because they're not mutants in this movie.
No, that's the other change.
They're not the offspring of Magneto in this movie. At least I'm assuming as much.
They never said if they were Inhumans or if they were just genetically modified. That was not clarified.
They were experiments, is what they were called.
They were experiments.
The twins were experimented on.
Correct. So she used her voodoo on Iron Man, Tony Stark, everybody, but on his in particular, he walks up to what is definitely a scene from where the Chitauri came from. It's in space. There's a big pile of bodies. Hulk's on the top with like things in his back.
Arrows.
Was it? No, it was like the Chitauri's like little stabs were in his back. Like their little blasters were like stuck into his back. Which this has been on one of the previews, so I think it's even been like a cover on a magazine or in a magazine, so I'm not really giving too much away. But they didn't show everything. Like they show the broken shield, but it's a preview of things that come with the Infinity War. And I really want to see that scene because the people that were in there, I think, are other heroes that they were alluding to, because everything in Avengers is building up to the next movies that are going to be coming out besides Ant-Man.
Like Doctor Strange has been mentioned.
Doctor Strange was mentioned. Captain Marvel was alluded to because I think in the scene there was the golden triangles, which is like a part of her symbol. Anyway,
Black Panther was mentioned.
Wakanda.
Very loosely, though. Yeah, they went
to Wakanda.
Yes.
Which is
and
the Black
mentioned
Panther.
the vibranium. Yes, absolutely.
Correct.
I was kind of hoping to see him, but he didn't show up.
Avengers Age of Ultron crossed 400 million. Was that just for...
It takes 24 days to assemble $400 million. That's it. It's 24 days.
It has now grossed 409.9 million statewide, which is the second best domestic total for a Marvel film. The first one is the current champ with 623.3 million domestic. Tomorrowland is expected to come out top this Memorial Day weekend with 32.159 mil for the 3-day and 40.7 mil for the 4-day.
And then Mad Max, Fury Road,
Pitch Perfect, and Mad Max is on there.
I'm going to say a real quick bit about Mad Max, and I wish they would have named it something else.
Why is that?
Because he's not the title character. He's supposed to be, but it's not. It revolves around the Charlize Theron female.
I was very surprised that was her. I've seen the preview posters, and I have one down here. They gave one away at Comic-Con that Warner Brothers had a Warner Brothers had a booth. They gave away movie posters for that and for...
yes. I saw this one everywhere. This is nice.
Do you want me to do this one?
Do it. Let's go. Let's go. We're doing movies right now. Why not?
Dun, dun, dun. Oh, I do have it right here. Look. Just for you.
There you go.
Mad Max.
That is Charlize Theron.
But I didn't know it was her until I got this poster and it said it right on the top. I really didn't recognize her.
Oh, I mean, heartbeat. She's gorgeous.
Well, with all the black on and the hair missing, I just...
No, because I've seen her do Monster. Remember Monster?
Correct.
Where they totally uglified her and you could still tell it was her.
but I didn't know until I got this up close view. Like the far away view, did not know.
Now, before some of you complain that Tony Bravo is sexist or whatever, I'm not sexist. I'm happy that they have a strong female character. I really genuinely am. But if you're going to set in the Mad Max universe, that's one thing. I'm not against that.
Hey, look, it's Batfleck.
Yes, it is.
Batfleck.
I'm not against this strong female character at all. I actually enjoy it. I love it. I just wouldn't mind it being... Name it after her. Why not? You know, it's Mad Max, but Mad Max is kind of like in the background, which feels weird.
We haven't seen it yet, which is odd because I thought we would be like there in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
But Memorial Day weekend, we had other things going on.
Yes.
Like Comic-Con.
Well, yeah, there's that. So that's the Avengers. If you haven't seen it, go see it.
My take is that scene, the Tony Stark scene, is the end scene that you think that you're missing. It's right there in the middle. He kind of tricked us. He put it there right in the movie. So I think
this is what he believes.
This is what I believe. This is a BMad belief. So go back to it, look at it, study it. I'm sure we'll bring it back up on the show again
when the Blu-ray comes out. Yep.
Yeah, when the Blu-ray comes out later, probably. You think it'll be Christmas?
I've been fake drinking my tea for a while. More than likely, it is Christmas. Like Thanksgiving's when they. I think it's when they did it last year.
Was it? Is it that soon? Okay. So, moving on. Next topic, sir.
Next topic, we're going to talk about my fun. Geek Way to the West 2015. What is Geek Way to the West?
Now, to be fair, I do like games, just not as much as this man. I'm sure he knows as much about games as I know about comics. So, but I do dabble in them just as he dabbles in them. I doubt it.
About comics that I know about games? Nah, you probably know that. But I do want to show. I did bring some toys.
He's been hiding this from me, so I'm going to be as shocked as you are once he pulls this out of his bag. And
there's a gentleman called. The bag is flaking off on my games. That's kind of funny. Anyway, so Marcus Ross made this game called Discount Salmon. Discount Salmon is a fun little filler game. The whole premise behind the Discount Salmon is you got to catch fish.
It's a card game.
Mm-hmm. And you're catching these fish out of Lake Miasma.
And it's a modified Go Fish game.
Yeah, basically.
A very modified Go Fish game.
But the difference here is you have fish like this guy. He's toxic. Or like this guy, who is both stinky and dry. Now...
And nobody wants to be stinky and dry.
No. So you got to fix these.
Especially your fish. You never want your fish to be stinky and dry.
No, you want it moist. And you also want it,
smelling
perfumed.
Good.
So it's not stinky anymore. Or...
Nobody likes that fishy smell.
Nope. Or, of course, it's hiding from me. The lotion.
I thought you had an ugly fish, too.
Oh, there are ugly fish in here. As a matter of fact, you can also catch... here's the...
To make it pretty?
Makeup to make it pretty.
So I'm looking at the cards. I saw an ugly fish, but he didn't show it.
Here's the fish costume that you put on a tire to turn it into a fish so you can sell it. And you said you saw an ugly fish?
I thought I saw an ugly fish.
Here's a tire that you're going to put the fish costume on so you can sell it. And the ugly fish, there's Stinky.
I hope I didn't show what that was. They don't give us anything for our...
No, they don't. We don't care about that either right now. If someone wants to throw money our way so we can afford, like, actual studio soundboard and whatnot, that would be delightful. But here's your ugly fish. Now, this game right here, it's a $15 game. I'm sure you can look it up. Discount Salmon online.
It's easy to teach the kids so you can play with your kids.
My daughter loves it. Absolutely freaking loves it.
You threw down with my daughter the other day. It's like, hey, you want to play a game? And she was like, yes. And they were playing and got a whole round in while I was, like, down here trying to rummage.
Yes, when we had filmed our last attempt at coming on the air and failed miserably because I'm an idiot. I'm going to take the blame on this one and try to film half an hour of a show on my phone and then upload it to YouTube and actually Facebook. And Facebook said, no. And I went, please? And it went, no, you got to clip it. And I went, okay, well, let me clip it. And then my phone said, no. So needless to say, we're doing this again. I think this is our third iteration of trying to record this program for you.
Maybe one day we'll get all the bloopers together so you can see our attempts.
Yes, they're delightful.
So keeping this moving so we don't have a giant thing to upload, our our next Geekway topic.
The next Geekway topic is just the basic fun. If you're huge into board gaming, there's actually quite a few cons. The next one coming up is actually DICON, which will be held here locally in Collinsville at the Civic Center. What's the name of that little...
The Convention
Center. Thank you.
I think it's just the Collinsway Convention Center, but yes. I could be wrong.
No, that's exactly what it is. And it is... it's a nice place. A lot of miniatures, a lot of pen and paper if you're into that type of tabletop gaming. And, of course, the Atomic Squash group.
I like deck builders.
I do. A lot of the Atomic Squash guys will be there on hand to teach you how to play various games. But this is Discount Salmon. I do recommend it. I don't really throw my seal of approval on a whole lot of things just because I'm that kind of guy. But Marcus did a delightful job putting together a nice little filler in Discount Salmon. One of the other games that I picked up, Miniature Market gives out a whole bunch of free games. And this is all over the website, so this isn't something like I'm being all like sneaky about. My free game turned out to be
Gateway Center.
The Gateway Center in Collinsville is where DICON will be. It'll be in June, and one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to interview Jason Emsager, who is the guy that runs the Atomic Squash portion of the board gaming at the Convention Center, and or the Gateway Center, and he will give you dates and the whole kit and caboodle. The more people that come out, the happier we all are, because now you get to experience the tabletop gaming as we enjoy it. This was my free game. It's a Star Wars game. It's actually a rather delightful two-player game. So you can see that the free games you get aren't just like weird schlubby games that they're trying to get rid of.
And also, you can definitely tell now Disney is the owner because there's a big old Disney logo on the back.
Yep. Isn't that magnificent, though? I don't know how well you can see the Disney logo.
Get it up there.
Zoom in there. There it is. Proud as day. Star Wars is now owned by Disney. Dungeons & Dragons standalone game where you roll dice and you fight each other. Also another quick and easy filler game for your delight. Now, Geekway to the West, 4 days, 24 hours of board gaming. I played in Battle Tops. I actually, for the first time in my life, played Tops. I actually made it past the first round, which completely shocked the crap out of me because I've never played Tops before. But I remember a friend of mine taught me how to do it like a year ago.
That wasn't me.
And it worked.
It wasn't me.
Again, if you're into board gaming, come out and meet us at Heroic Adventures in Edwardsville if you're local, or just go online to the meetup groups. There's a ton of them. There's a St. Charles meetup group. There's a St. Louis. There's a Metro East gaming group. And if you are watching us from outside of the St. Louis area, again, go to meetups. You are going to find a group locally that will help teach you wonderful, delightful games.
In this day and age, there is a way to find everything that you like to do.
Mm-hmm. Even junk you don't like to do. Dice Masters is my current money sink. And I'm going to give this one to BMad here so he can open it.
Thank you, sir. I get to open it?
You get to open it.
Oh.
Dice Masters is a deck/dice building game. You use the dice to build your deck. And what makes these ever so delightful is this little pack is 99 cents anywhere. I'm sure you can find them cheaper online if you really try to hunt down like the extra bargains. But what they consist of are dice and cards. Here are the dice. I got Catwoman in my hand, and then I actually got the power ring for the Green Lantern. Now, this is a separate character than the actual Green Lantern himself. The Green Lantern does have his own card. And then you get the cards, of course, that go with, that power that specific die.
Now, I'm going to assume that they go with the cards that you got.
Yes. So this
then I have Cisco Ramon, which is Vibe, and I have the Martian Manhunter, which is the Green Martian. Now, I was a little confused because there's his face and then there's some lightning bolts. So I didn't know who exactly that was. And the same thing with the Martian Manhunter, there's a lightning bolt. So I'm sure that you're going to tell me why there's lightning bolts.
The lightning bolts are your resources.
Okay.
Okay. So to acquire said cards, right? So let's say you want to get Catwoman into your arsenal, into your fighting deck, because you're going to have superheroes and villains fighting against each other. So I want Catwoman in my deck. I'm going to be rolling my dice, and I'm going to try to get these icons to pop up. Now that is a mask, because that's what Catwoman, or I'm sorry, that's what the Lantern power ring gets powered by. Catwoman, surprisingly, enjoys the fist, which I really expected her to be a mask, considering she's a thief, but no, she gets the fist. So, when you roll your basic dice, you're going to get these icons to pop up, and when you reach a certain number, which matches the cost of the card, in this case the power ring is a 4, and Catwoman happens to also be a 4. BMad's Martian Manhunter happens to have a cost of 5, and Vibe, in this case, also happens to have a cost of 4.
And speaking of Vibe, just a little segue.
Please.
The season finale of The Flash kind of alluded, I know you haven't watched, kind of alluded to him having powers on the show. The finale was phenomenal. The whole season was phenomenal. Just them taking the dive into actually doing powers when everybody else is like, let's do it realistically. These guys were like, no, we're doing powers. He's the Flash, he moves fast. His enemies are powered. So they went with it, ran with it, no pun intended. And it went well. And the finale was phenomenal. It happens to be that there was a big giant cliffhanger, which I'm not a big fan of. I'm not a big fan of ending on a cliffhanger, but it's gonna make me come back in the fall because
Which
it was
is why
awesome.
they did it.
I cussed at the TV. I literally said dirty, nasty words to the television when it happened. I was like, "How dare you? How could you?" And it was. And
the
awesome.
TV said, quite frankly, nothing. Because it has no ability
It went
to
to
respond.
commercial. It went to commercial.
But of course, the Arrow and the Flash have both joined forces as they go into the next segment of their collective life, if you will.
They've done a major crossover and several little cameos on each other's shows,
and are going to be jumping into the Legends of Tomorrow.
Yes, that was previewed. So one of the things that happened during the finale is Jay Garrick's helmet flew out of the portal that they created, and when Harrison Wells, aka the Reverse Flash, looked at it, he's like, "Oh, it's time for me to go." So I don't know if that means that the Reverse Flash has already ran into Jay Garrick, or if they're going to be bringing the original Golden Age Flash to the show, or how they're going to play it, because I'm sure they're going to go into timelines because they spoke of alternate timelines. It just can go anywhere now, but the DC Legends of Tomorrow have to do with Rip Hunter, which they mentioned Rip on the show. They did his time bubble. They created it for Wells. Cisco created it because he's a genius. So anyway.
And that is why I'm actually bringing the Dice Masters to a character like BMad, because instantly it invokes these strong feelings, these strong sentiments of the comic book universe. So if you are a fan, they do have Marvel Dice Masters as well out there. There's Dungeons & Dragons. There's Yu-Gi-Oh! If you happen to be a Yu-Gi-Oh! Buff. Those exist in the Dice Masters universe, and I got to play a little bit of this at Geekway. I played a little bit of everything. That's kind of my goal. I played a 6-hour game of Game of Thrones.
And according to his videos, he was very stinky.
At Game of Thrones?
No, just very stinky in general because you were up and...
Oh, no, I showered.
Oh, okay.
Now, some of the other personnel, they even made the announcement at one point. They're always giving away games. Every morning there's like a game giveaway. In the evening there's a game giveaway. There's events throughout. There's tournaments throughout. And as they were broadcasting one of these tournaments, they actually got on the mic and go, "Oh, by the way, you are in a hotel. Go shower." The hotel kept the temperature down. Why? Not because we were hot. Cold air keeps the stank down.
That's true.
And so we were cold, but it didn't reek as bad as it did last year. Now, I do want to do a keeping yourself clean when conning bit, but we're going to do that later. But it is important because some of us...
We will have steps, like 1, get soap.
We will shower for you.
No.
We will do a whole... Yes. He might not do it. I'll do it from my phone. I will shower for you with clothes on, so you know exactly what you need to do.
All right. So,
but I promise you, armpit BO is not... No, I can never move on.
Move on.
I will never let it go. I will never go Elsa. ever.
Let it go.
Geekway was a blast. Thank you guys. Daikon is coming up. We're going to have an interview with Jason M. Sager. I'm also going to be interviewing other board gaming designers that are local, so that you can get a big feel of what's going on in my little bubble. Now,
we're going to bring it back around to the very beginning of our topic.
To the left.
We're to the present now.
To the left.
Or no, slightly into the past. Just yesterday, the third annual Wizard World Comic Con wrapped up. I'm going to say this. I had a blast. Mm-hmm. I always have a blast. You know, I brought my family. It was Tony's first time. It was my daughter's first time. I brought my grandson.
I brought my family.
Obviously, it was his first time. It was his daughter's first time, wife's first time. So a lot of first times, which made it very interesting. And they were very excited and had a great time. All the cosplayers. But it concerns me, and it was talked about by other convention goers, that it's kind of dwindled down. The first one, huge, but it was number one. Like every number one,
they went all out with number one.
It was all out. There was all kinds of things going on. There was more little activities. There were more demonstrations. There were actual cosplayers that were probably paid for by Wizard World. Second year, a little less than that, but they moved it in. So I think it was the same. Some people argue, but it was moved into a different space. So the space that this year you went into, where you were lining up in the lines, was the actual space that the first Comic-Con was held in, which is smaller. So then they move into the bigger area.
It was actually inside the Edward Jones Dome
itself. So the outside was made into the lines. The inside was made into bigger space, into the convention itself. And it was the same amount of stuff I felt, but since it was in a larger space, it felt less. It was spread out.
Which was nice, because you can move around freely.
Very, very true. The second year, the lines were full. They actually went out the door of the first room into the hallway that leads to that, and it was a lot of people. Me being a VIP, I walked through the lines. I loved it. I had a blast. This year, getting in as a VIP, you get to go in a half hour early on Saturday and Sunday. So I didn't make it Friday. I did make it Saturday. There were no lines. I
was in.
He came after me.
Right. I went to the counter. I bought my tickets on site.
You got there at 10? I got there. A little bit. I got there around 9, thinking I'd have to be in a line to get my ticket. I got right up, got my ticket, stood in line, very short line, to get in at 9:30, and the lines hadn't built up at all. He got there 10.
No, yeah, it was maybe 9:45 is when I actually got there. Got my ticket.
Before they opened.
Made it into the lines. Now the lines, I was in the 5th or 6th row of little lines that they had set up.
But it was half of what it was last year.
Now I have nothing to compare it to, so to me the lines looked actually decent sized. Then
there were a good amount of people
in. Now this, I have to say, weirded me out.
Okay.
Weirded me out because they wanted to make sure everybody had their wristband. Fair enough. So you had to walk in doing this. Which, when you see a whole bunch of people just kind of walking in doing this, and they start doing this, look weird. As a man of slight color, with other men and women of either slight to rich color, I felt like I was at an Arkansas Klan rally, and that creeped me out just a little bit. My wife smacked me upside the head saying, "You're being stupid." I'm like, am I really? And then I turned, and there was this wonderful gentleman next to me with a rich shade of mocha caramel who looked and gave the very same look of, I'm a little scared right now. Now, we knew nothing was going to happen, but the fact that we're all marching in there like this.
Some of the other changes, besides his pants after that scare.
Well, I was already scared because they had the zombie tent set up.
Yes.
And the zombie tent, they had, like, you can shoot something. I don't know what was going on, but it triggered my PTSD. So I heard the gunfire and went, I'm not comfy. And then I saw the Klan rally and went, this is going to be weird. So when we finally made it in, then it was fun.
So the entrance was different. They had a big sign the last 2 years saying welcome. The sign was smaller for whatever reason, which these are minor things at first. There wasn't anything really going on the outside. They had some tables set up for the gaming. A couple of...
game night was there. They had their game set up.
A couple of little side tables, or not tables, but...
you had the zombie tent, and then you had the Ouija... some special effects group that did The Hobbit.
Yeah, that's true.
That was just outside.
And then a little stage for the Falconry stuff.
I ran into you.
So then you finally get in.
And then when you get in, you have to this
rows.
side. So here's your 2 rows, but I'm going to go max camera size. I'm going to smack you in the head. Sorry. Okay. So here's your 2 rows. On this side, you had your geek speed dating or whatever they called it.
And the Riverfront Times and the newspapers. It was the tchotchkes that they were giving away.
Right.
Sign up for this. Put your email in for that.
Right.
Which was the same as last year. And then on the other... Actually, I think it was flip-flopped. But on the other side were cars from movies.
The Fast and the Furious car.
The Muttmobile from Dumb and Dumber.
Huts. Yes.
Mutt's Huts. The Herbie.
Yep.
So there were cars there, different cars, because last year, was it last year or the first year, it was the car from Breaking Bad.
I think it was last year. Because I remember your picture from last year.
Okay. So there were different cars, which is cool. So you get in, and it's the convention. And it was pretty much, when you look at it, the same. But it squeezed in some because there was a whole bunch of space over here, over on the one side for getting photos, which...
Where you could
last year it was
cosplay?
Which last year was outside. This year was inside, but they made that room for that. Mm-hmm. And on the other side was food, where they had Artist Alley. Now, last year the complaint was Artist Alley was in the back. There was no signage. This year they were definitely half of the convention, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
they were spread out, though. There was there was a couple artists, and there would be a booth of tchotchkes, and then a couple artists, and so on and so forth. And there were a couple of aisles that were straight artists. But it wasn't in the back, and where the back was, where they had them, was the food. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, it was condensed, so it was as packed in as the original, the first one.
But spread out.
With the 2, and some of the artists said to me, that it was just a lot different, and it was more expensive than previous years. So things have changed.
With that being said, when you first walked in, the first thing you run into
Lion Force
is these guys. Yes, the Lion's Forge.
Sorry, Lion's Forge.
And you're going to need to kind of guide me because I'm behind the bag here.
Yeah, you're good.
So Lion's Forge, and they literally give this monster away, right? And
they give away comic books as well.
Pins. I didn't get a comic book from them, but I got
a lanyard.
Yep.
Lots of tchotchkes from them. Now, their booth in previous years was huge. Screens and banners.
Still, relatively speaking, compared to everything else that was out there,
it was the biggest thing there, but it was smaller than previous years.
Yeah, the only vendors that I think that may have been larger than the Lion's Forge booth was Star Clipper had a very good, strong presence, and then there was another guy out there that was selling T-shirts and whatnot. I can't remember what T-shirt company.
Thank you, Star Clipper, for letting me hang out as much as you did around your booth. Bird, Robbie, Russell. You guys were Ashley. You guys were fantastic, and me coming around taking pictures with me and taking pictures for me. You guys were great, and thank you.
They were nice to me too, so I thank you for it.
There you go. Well. Thank you for being nice to Tony. It's hard, I know, but we appreciate it.
I'm the jerk of the bunch, but they're still cool with me. And Russell, I always love you. The one that really messed with me though was the LASIK people. There was a LASIK.
Oh yeah, and the tub people. That was the other thing. Some of the booths
made no sense.
What are you doing at Comic-Con? These people aren't buying home improvements.
Do you see this? I don't know if you can see this. It's a new camera. I'm not really familiar with it. I do have a screen that I can look at, so I'm not sure. I'm not wearing glasses, at all. My vision, for a guy my age, is surprisingly good. Would I say 2020? Yeah, why not? Let's say 2020. Some friggin' doorknob from that LASIK booth looks at me. Hey, would you be interested in LASIK?
They attacked me as well, and
I'm like, my kid had glasses, but they were like, hey, your child has glasses. Would you like to use No, they looked at me and said, hey, would you like LASIK? I went, no.
It was weird.
I'm good, thanks. And I've always hated that when people say, I'm good, thanks. I said that because I was like, ooh, what? State Farm was there, bully for you. I mean, I'm sure you guys had some level of success, mainly because they were giving stuff out. They had swag. But LASIK's, the only thing they were giving out were...
So this is booth space that could have been used for, local artists, local anything.
It was weird.
More comics, more stuff, more games, whatever. But it was these things. So that was a little different.
If they're paying as a sponsorship thing, awesome. We thank you because you gave us the opportunity to have this event.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
And for that, we thank you.
Maybe we should shove them in a corner next time.
And ask smarter questions like, hey, would your child appreciate LASIK?
So moving on, the talent was also a little different.
Now, the talent I loved. I'm not going to let you poo-poo the talent. And I'll tell you this.
Poo-pooing the talent.
My buddy Joe Wills of Joe Wills Art, he was there. He had a booth. I got to catch up with an old friend of mine. Check him out. I remember when we first used to be Rent-A-Cops together in downtown St. Louis, he used to draw a comic book that was supposed to be a parody of us doing our security there. And his art has grown from those days leaps and bounds. So, Joe, here's your free plug that I promised you. Joe Wills Art. Go check it out. It's fantastic.
Speaking of plugs, I spoke to my friends, Yale Stewart. He did a commission for me. I put pictures of it up on Facebook. Yale, really want to get you on the show, have a conversation about being a local guy in St. Louis, doing art, doing comics. He does JLA 8. He's got a Tumblr feed that features JLA 8. He has a Facebook. He's awesome. Please check his stuff out. So it's the Justice League, but his little 8-year-olds. It's so cute. Also, Ethan Van Scriber was there. He is an artist on Green Lantern, The Flash. He did the Rebirth series of both of those. He does other things, mainly DC. But he was there. He spoke to me. I got a piece from him.
These guys gave us a ton of love. They promised us they're still our fans, even though BMad promised to thank them last year and didn't.
No, I did thank them. I was supposed to read their book, and I did, and I was supposed to do a review, but we never got around to it because of the timing.
They're still cool.
They are. They're very cool.
Check them out. I got Arc Vindicta on the backhand here. I love the whole little biker thing that they had going on. Brilliant guys. Gotta love them. In addition, Toby Gerber. Toby, I will know if you watch this, mainly because I asked you to make a cloth version of this, or if you made a cloth version of Firefly. That would be delightful.
And I also approached you for some of your stuff because I'm a big fan of Star Wars, and I asked for a specific thing. So if you get a chance, I gave you my email address. Please get in touch with me. If not, I have yours here on this.
Does that say prostate.com?
What? Pro site.
Oh, my bad. I had to double check that. I was like, Toby is being very... hey, an email.
Besides the local artists and the smaller guys, they have movie and
TV show
sports. And you consider WWE sports?
No,
sports entertainment.
Alec Ogletree from the St. Louis Rams was there.
Oh, very true. So sports. So there are celebrities there, and every year when I go, I pick somebody and I go see him. My first year, I went and seen Andrea, Lori Holt. I got the. Grab that for me. The lanyards.
This particular lanyard you actually wedged rather delightfully. So here we go. Lori Holden, which is one big bucket of gorgeous there.
She was my first year. Then the next year I got to meet Eliza Dushku. She was phenomenal as well. She made my daughter very happy. My daughter was shy at first. My youngest one, that was her first year, and she cutest story ever. So I'm in the autograph line. She's already taken the picture with us. We're bringing our stuff over to get signed. It's a big poster that they gave us, a lithograph, and Maris is holding it. She wants to hand it to her. She does, and Eliza remembered her and was like, "Oh, sweetie, how you doing? Are you better now?" And then Maris told her about how she skinned her knee earlier, and that's why, and so on and so forth. And she's like, "Well, how do you spell your name?" Now, she was supposed to sign it for me. But being the good dad that I was, as my daughter's sitting there spelling out her name, she's writing it down, and I'm not correcting her because you don't know how badly I want to go, no, 3 letters, not that. Anyway.
While he didn't do it in front of Eliza, he has, to this day, since continued to stamp his feet and go, "No, that was mine!"
So, to continue the tradition, I went and I saw Christian Kane. And let me tell you, he is fantastic. Now, Christian hails from Oklahoma, which is near and dear to me because I was born in Illinois, but my family is from Oklahoma. I'm proud to be a Muskogee from Oklahoma. Proud to be an Okie from Muskogee, if you will. My family hails from there. So, he started out with nothing, went and followed his dream, became an actor. Not only is he an actor on television, movies, but he's also a singer-songwriter. He did a little performance on Thursday that I didn't know about. I apologize, Christian. As I told you, I'm not a country guy. I don't listen to the music, but I do appreciate him because in Leverage, he did one of his songs, and it was good. I didn't want to, bleed from my ears or anything like that. So 5 years in Leverage. He played Elliot Spencer, as you all know, and we were all sad to see that show get canceled, ended, whatever you want to call it. We were all surprised that happened. He's now in The Librarians on TNT. They just finished up their first season, and while we were at the Q&A, he talked about how he was just got his script that day. That was Saturday. He just got his script for season 2, and he was going to read it on his way back home. And during that time, I got to do the picture, the autograph. In the line to the pictures and at the Q&A, there was a girl named Allie. Allie, shout out to you. She dressed up as Parker from one of the episodes in this little cute yellow outfit that Parker wore in one of the episodes. And he pointed her out, said, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And it was phenomenal. I got it on video. I put it up on the page. I also put on there about how he talked about Kane's Kitchen, which he's going to be doing also in June's going to be the website's going to drop, and it's going to have a countdown to July, he said in the interview. And he talked about how he got into cooking, going from eating ramen, having nothing, to finally making some money and going in the store going, I want that and I want that. And it was just, I got both little pieces of video, put them up on the site, and the pictures, and Caniacs, hashtag Caniacs, you guys are amazing. You guys ran with it, you guys shared it, you guys liked it, and we could not be more appreciative. I never called myself a Caniac because, once again, I watched him in Angel, then Leverage, and then The Librarians. I've always liked him, but I've never seen him in person, never seen a show until this weekend. And Christian Kane, I'm now a Caniac. Thank you. I appreciate you. And I appreciate all your fans who embrace me and Tony by association and our little podcast that we do. So
to include,
once again, we very much thank you.
And I have to say this because this blew my mind.
Yes, he just showed this to me.
Christian Kane German support group shared his video. Let's give credit where credit is due. He did all the Christian Kane videos. I did a lot of the gawking at other women in a professional sense, of course, because I was there doing it professionally for this show. You Caniacs are fantastic. We thank
17 new likes. We're almost to 500, which is amazing. Which leads me to my next 17 just in a couple days. Which it took us a year to get up to 400, and we were sitting at 420 for the longest time. Which brings me to my next little topic here. So every year they do a
see that number right there?
21 now.
Yes.
439. That is amazing. Thank you so much. So
what does that leave us at? We are 439, so I would be 61?
61.
61. So what happens if 61 more people like us?
So number 500. I have issues of the Wizard World editions of St. Louis Comic Con. So this is Wizard World Comic Con St. Louis exclusive. This is the one from this year. It is a Rick and Carl on the cover with a bunch of zombies behind them in front of the Capitol building there with the arch in St. Louis. There's also, hold on, Tony, give me a second here.
No, take your time. Prefect number 42 is standing behind me again. Es el Día del Orgullo Friki. National Geek Pride Day. That's why he's wearing the geeky jersey.
To life, the universe, and everything.
But we don't know the question.
So last year, instead of doing The Walking Dead, they did Wolverine, which I got graded, which is signed by Mac himself. It's a little scribble on here. It is rated a 9.6. So it's Wolverine and the X-Men #1. It's marked with the Wizard World exclusive. So this is going to go to number 500. So if you're number 500, I will find a way to get this to you, because we want you to love us, and we'll give you free stuff.
Yes. and we do mean this. I know there was some stink in the past. Under the previous incarnation of the Outright Geeks, we did run into a bit of a, let's just call it a snafu, for lack of a better term, on the way we were doing the giveaway, the March Madness thing that I ran. Kind of went
tried
belly
real
up.
hard.
It was ugly.
It was very ugly, and it didn't work out well.
This is our baby.
We did get a winner.
This show is our baby, and I do mean this in every way to all you Caniacs and to everyone else who has been with us since day one. This is a very important thing for us.
Yes.
When BMad says that this thing rated at 9.6 is yours, if you are number 500, and it is the number 9.6 that you're giving out.
Yes.
This is yours if you're number 500. Hell or high water, we are getting this to you.
Yes. So with our last contest that we tried to run, which the way, I mean, anything new has its bugs, and we just were not prepared to handle it. So we're coming up with, there was all kinds of questions about the rules, and people thought there was cheating going on. So you know what? That's over with. That bridge is gone. We're crossed it. We're past it. I did want to point out that since I did go to all the Wizard Worlds, I do have the alternate cover of Wizard World #1 graded as well. This is my baby. I'm sorry I've not given this one up.
He is not.
But I do have it. I do have some that are not graded, so maybe in the future, because I did get a couple of copies of this, if somebody's looking for it, maybe we can come up with a way to give this to you. Maybe we can share something. But
What,
yeah.
that Star Wars one? Remember that Star Wars one that you looked at?
Yeah. So anyway, that is Comic-Con. So Saturday, Christian Kane. I did glimpse him and wave to him on Sunday. I did all my events on Saturday, but Sunday was all about what BMad loves, comics. I've been collecting since I was 8, as I've said many times, and I just try to get everything that I can, that I love, back issues, if you will. So I spent Sunday, like I always do, digging through the books, digging through the boxes, looking for the nuggets of gold. I found a couple that I'm going to share with you real quick. This one is just pure, unadulterated, haha, fun, 90s. It was a little different back then. This is a little nugget of gold. As you will notice, there's no approved by the Comic Book Authority little stamp on there, because it is Lobo #1 with a enhanced enhanced cover. It literally says, "I got your cover enhancement right here." This is from '93. It is, it's got the nice. Can I make that shine?
And for the moment we've been waiting for, BMad, can you please tell us what you think of Lobo's art?
The art is beautiful.
Yes, it is.
Speaking of beautiful art, I found this little gem. This is Emerald Twilight Green Lantern #50. Something I've been looking for a while. I actually got the whole run of this. It was missing from my collection for a while. I started collecting with Kyle Rayner. What are you doing?
I am outlining.
Oh. I started collecting. I mean, I knew about Hal Jordan, Flash. They had crossovers. I knew about Hal Jordan, but when I started collecting the Green Lantern series, it was Kyle Rayner, because it was after this, which is where Hal Jordan actually goes to the dark side, if you will. He's the first of the original 7 JLA, Silver Age, head honchos.
To go bat scat crazy.
Yes. Now, it was retconned by Jeff Johns and Ethan Van Sciver when they did the Rebirth series, but the Parallax entity took him over. But this storyline was just amazing. His city that he protected got blown up, and he did not take it very well and went nuts. And then last but not least, the What Ifs. I found a bunch of these. I'm a big fan of What If and Elseworld, so I found some of these in the pile. I mean, I got a nice stack here. This one here is What If Professor X had become the Juggernauts, issue number 13. Also, this one actually is approved by the Comic Code Authority, which is what we derive our little since
Outright
it's
Geeks
defunct
logo.
now, our Outright Geeks logo. So anyway,
That neither one of us wore today, but
no, we didn't need to. We needed to.
I pimped it all weekend though, so you didn't want to see me wearing the same stanky shirt, although it has been washed, but still.
Beautiful cover of Superman and Elseworlds by
ripping the American flag.
Well, it's a
Yeah.
So
it's semi beautiful.
Mignola did it. Who does Hellboy? I just thought that was awesome.
No, he does. He's got that classic look about him.
The Victorian age.
Superman through the ages. And
So
at
anyway-
this particular point, he is ripping the colonial flag.
So anyway, excuse me.
So anyway,
I got a big stack of books that I get to go through.
the Blue Beetle. Can I just say the Blue Beetle in the DC?
That's actually
In the DC Justice League Dice Masters, beautiful dice. I'm a big dice guy. If you become a fan of us and you want to show your affection to us, he's the comic book guy. I love dice. That's why I do Dice Masters. I don't do it because I'm like a big magic nerd. I'm a nerd, but I do it because I love dice. Okay, I'm not holding that up right. This is my motivation. This is my
touching
incentive.
them. He likes how they feel.
I do.
How they
I've
look.
spent $50 on 1D20. There's a
Wow.
company out there. I'm not gonna plug you because that's just how I roll. They made a die out of Brazilian soapstone. So if you're wanting to show us love because of what we have and you really like what we do, and you're like, look, I'm not going to spend money on you. I don't want to do a subscription because we're here to do it for free for you. But I do want to show you my token of affection to you guys. Comic books. Dice.
And I will try much harder than I did in the past to do my reviews. I will have the
Nice.
review for sorry, he's dropping stuff everywhere, and I'm trying not to mess him up. So the Devil's Pool, I will have that review here on
Dice.
future episode. Other things that I found. This was in a bin for $1, and it's the Vision, and it's the it's an Icon series, 1 of 4 miniseries, and it's the origin, I guess,
Of Vision.
of Vision.
Which,
So
if you
since
go to see Avengers 2,
you will see that as well. That's why I was bringing it up. If you see Age of Ultron. So yeah, comics, games, video games even. You know what? Mortal Kombat was a big presence at Comic-Con because there were many cosplayers that were dressed up as Sub-Zero and I got a picture. Scorpion
and
one of the robots.
no, what's the name of the dude with the hat? Was
Raiden?
played by the Highlander. Thank you, Raiden was
Raiden
also there.
Was there,
And they had the coolest freaking contacts. And did the LASIK lady ask them if they needed LASIK?
probably not.
No, probably she did. She was asking everybody. Let's be fair.
So, Mortal Kombat X came out. I do have it. I've been playing it. Played as Jason Voorhees, which was phenomenal. The new skins are coming out left and right. I've gotten a lot. I mean, just playing through it. So, video games, whatever your geek is, embrace it. Especially on a day like today, where we actually have a day to celebrate. Being into Hitchhiker's Guide from the Galaxy. Mostly harmless. So long and thanks for all the fish.
And also duly note that some of these things cross over as well. The Witcher. Witcher number 3 is also on the hot list of wonderful video games to play. It's got a board game version as well. It's known just as The Witcher. And it has been likened to what if Talisman was good. So if you're a fan of the board game Talisman, The Witcher's way better. It was delightful. I loved it. I've played it twice at Geekway. Fantastic game. It really is. So some of this stuff actually crosses over as well. BioShock. There's a board game of that.
And there were cosplayers that dressed up as that. So,
A lot of Doctor Who.
A lot of Doctor
Halle
Who.
Berry's Catwoman.
A lot of Catwoman. A lot of Batmans. My favorite was the Batman and Robin, the son, the son and the father dressed up as...
In line in front of us when we were first getting in was the David Tennant Doctor, the 10th Doctor, Rose Tyler with the Union Jack, and their 2 children were dressed as baby Daleks.
At this point, the video camera died, so we're going to fade to black. We look forward to seeing you next week here on the Outright Geeks podcast. Thank you.